Most people imagine a survival kit as something extreme. Images of bunkers, gas masks, and people hiding in the woods. But the truth is much simpler than that. A real survival kit isn't about preparing for the end of the world. It's about making sure you and your family can cope calmly if everyday systems suddenly stop working for a short period of time. And that brings us to an important distinction that a lot of people get wrong. There's a huge difference between prepping and panic buying. Panic buying happens when people rush to the shops because they're scared. Shelves get cleared out in hours. People buy things they don't need, don't understand, and often won't even use. We saw this during the pandemic. Toilet paper vanished. Pasta disappeared overnight. People filled their garages with food they'd never normally eat. Prepping is the opposite of that. Prepping is slow, calm, and practical. It means building a small buffer of essential items over time so that if something unexpected happens, a power outage, a storm, transport strikes, supply chain disruption, you're not scrambling like everyone else. You already have what you need. Governments around the world actually encourage this kind of preparedness. Emergency planners in the UK and many other countries recommend households keep at least a few days' worth of food, water, and basic supplies at home in case services are disrupted. Not weeks, not months. Just enough to stay comfortable if normal life pauses for a while. So what actually belongs in a survival kit? Let's break it down step by step. The first and most important item is water. Water is always the top priority in any emergency planning guide. The general recommendation is about 2 to 3 liters of drinking water per person per day. That means if you're preparing a 3-day emergency supply for 2 people, you'd want roughly 12 to 18 liters stored safely. Now that might sound like a lot, but it's really just a few large bottles stored somewhere cool and dark. Water is essential not just for drinking, but also basic hygiene and cooking. Next comes food. When building a survival kit, the goal isn't gourmet meals. The goal is simple, reliable nutrition that stores well and requires minimal preparation. Some of the most practical foods include canned vegetables, canned beans, rice, pasta, oats, peanut butter, dried lentils, and long-life milk. These foods last a long time, provide good calories, and most people already know how to cook them. One mistake beginners make is buying emergency rations they've never tried before. If you wouldn't normally eat it, there's a good chance you won't enjoy it during a stressful situation either. The best survival food is food you already like. Another important category is lighting. Power outages are far more common than people think. Storm damage, equipment failure, grid overloads. They happen every year. Having reliable lighting makes a huge difference to comfort and safety. A good survival kit usually includes a flashlight, spare batteries, or a rechargeable lantern. Some people prefer hand crank or solar lights, so they don't depend entirely on stored batteries. Candles can work in a pinch, but they come with fire risk. So modern battery lighting is usually the safer option. Then there's communication. During emergencies, mobile networks can become overloaded or temporarily unavailable. A small battery-powered radio can help you stay informed if internet or phone services go down. This might sound old-fashioned, but emergency planners still recommend radios because they work independently of mobile networks. First aid is another essential piece of any survival kit. A basic first aid kit should include bandages, antiseptic wipes, pain relief tablets, plasters, and basic medical supplies you might need to treat minor injuries at home. During large-scale disruptions, emergency services can take longer to respond simply because they're stretched thin. Being able to treat small injuries yourself can make a big difference. Next, let's talk about warmth. If heating systems fail during winter, even for a short period of time, indoor temperatures can drop quickly. Having spare blankets, warm clothing, and maybe even thermal sleeping bags can help maintain body heat. This is particularly important if you live in colder parts of the UK. where winter storms sometimes disrupt power. Another item that often gets overlooked is cash. In modern society, we rely heavily on card payments and digital banking. But if power outages or technical failures hit payment systems, shops may only accept cash temporarily. Keeping a small amount of emergency cash at home can be surprisingly useful. Now, let's talk about tools. A survival kit doesn't need to look like something from an action movie, but a few simple tools can solve a lot of problems. A multi-tool or Swiss Army-style knife can help open tins, repair small items, or cut materials when needed. Manual can openers are also worth including. If power goes out and your electric opener stops working, you'll still want access to your food. Another useful addition is a portable phone charger or power bank. If electricity is unavailable for several hours or even a day, having backup power for your phone allows you to stay in contact with family and check updates. Now here's something many people forget when building a survival kit. Personal items. Things like prescription medication, baby supplies, pet food, hygiene products and spare glasses can be incredibly important during disruptions. A survival kit should be tailored to your household, not just copied from a generic list. Finally, there's one more element of preparedness that often gets overlooked: planning. The best survival kit in the world won't help much if your household doesn't know what to do in an emergency. Having a simple plan for where to meet, who to contact, and what to do if communication fails can remove a lot of stress during uncertain situations. Talk with your family about it. Decide where supplies are stored. Make sure everyone understands the basics. Preparation isn't about expecting disaster, it's about reducing panic. When disruptions happen, whether it's a power outage, a storm, or supply chain delays, prepared households stay calm because they already have the essentials covered. They're not rushing to the shops. They're not competing for the last items on the shelf. They simply carry on until things return to normal. And that's really the goal of a survival kit. Not fear, just resilience. Now I'd love to hear from you. If you were building a survival kit today, what would be the one item you'd make sure to include? And if you already have one, what's inside it that most people wouldn't think about? Let me know in the comments, because in the next video we're going to break down some of the most common mistakes people make when preparing for uncertain times, and how to avoid them.